Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Draft Declared franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we got into some problematic cap situation, and I'm not very much of a fan of last episode. I mean, it's an okay episode, but in terms of what I did contract-wise, I made a lot of mistakes that I had to kind of backtrack on, because I kind of wanted to keep the team together as much as possible. Now, I did sign a couple guys to, I guess, a couple too much $1 million wise, and we do still have some RFAs to start the season, which is not ideal, and they're on our most needed area as well. So we did offer Kavanaugh a contract near the end of last episode, so he should accept that. The only thing is we do not have enough cap space at the moment to re-sign Nicholas Ramo is his name, or Nico Ramo? I think it was Nico. Yeah, Nico Ramo. So I don't know what we're going to do. We might have to wait a tiny bit, like maybe a month or so, to see if we could give him a contract and if it could drop off even more so. If it doesn't drop off more so, though, he might have to hold out the entire season unless we could find a way to free up an extra $1 million or whatever it is in cap space to sign him, which is really problematic because you can see how bad our defensive core is without those two guys. So Kavanaugh will definitely miss the first game of the season, at least because we are already at the start of the season. We already simmed through the preseason trying to get this team like ready to go. Basically what I had to do though is I signed Haken in the offseason, and then I had to waive him at the start of the season, and he was claimed by the Los Angeles Kings. So that was a little bit of a weird thing that we had to do. But I mean, our team is okay, but down the middle, like you can see, our center depth is very much dropped off. So I'm not very much sold on our offense from that perspective. But from the left wing side of things, everything looks kind of good. Right wing also looks pretty good. Defensively, not so much, and goaltending looks good. So we're kind of a mixed bag of a team, and it should be interesting to see what our team does this season. Hopefully we make it back to the playoffs again, because this might be, I think, like the second or third last season of this franchise mode. We also do have Burkhoff on another one-year deal, and then he's a UFA again. Maybe I shouldn't have re-signed him because of the fact that we do have a young goalie who could jump up and be that backup this season, but we'll probably do that next season to free us up a lot of cap space so we have more chances to re-sign pretty much everybody on our roster for another season or so. But that is that. So let's get into your guys' comments anyways before we get to simulating, because I'm not too fond of last episode, and I'm a little bit scared about the RFA situation. I'm hoping that there is a way that we could get everybody back for that defensive core, because our defensive core might not be super strong in front of our goaltenders, but maybe our goaltenders will still make our defensive core better than they are. So the first two comments are from Michael Dose. The first one was, Haken was paid the bacon. What an offseason that was. And he means probably not in the good way. It was probably the worst offseason I've ever recorded in a franchise mode. And that's even saying like way back to like NHL 17 when I first started YouTube. Like, I don't know what it was, but like I wasn't paying attention as much as I should have to the cap situation. Maybe I was overtired, made some dumb decisions, and here we are. Michael also says, for your information, Ride the Lightning was a Metallica album, and the song was about the electric chair. And, okay, that's interesting. The song about the electric chair of all things. Not going to talk about the electric chair, because I don't know if that's something that YouTube would get mad at me about. Probably not, but still. The next comment is from Logan May, who says, you might need to adopt my off-season strategy. Day 1, send offers to all guys who want one-way deals at 85% of their asking price. Day 2, send offers to all guys who refused at 90%. Day 3, send it at 95%. Day 4, send one-year deals to anyone left who refused at their asking price. Sign two-way deals, two-way guys at 90% on day 1. Also, you will also save 10% on your cap. You will not upset players by sending offers like this. So, yeah, we'll probably try and do that if I could remember that strategy. I think normally what I try to do is just re-sign as much people as I can early on, and then obviously we kind of like give them a little bit more money if they're rejecting that type of thing. So, but I don't know if I save up 10%. Sometimes I save a little bit of money, sometimes I don't. The next comment is from Walker, I think it's pronounced, because it's based on a spell with a 1 in it. He says, is there any way you could show how to make the jerseys? I really like them. So I could probably I guess I could reply to your comment or something from that episode, or if you comment again on this episode, I could probably load up my save file and basically just give you the details there. Because I don't know if I would make a video tutorial on how to make the jerseys, but they are some of my favorite jerseys. Like if we go here to Eon Ozens, just to show you guys the jersey a little bit more in depth, this is at least a 1 jersey. It's basically got like the Mighty Ducks like kind of look to it. The style of the jersey. You can see the font I use, like font 15. You can kind of see what I went for, also the shoulder patch and stuff like that. But I could maybe do a tutorial video at some stage, maybe once the series ends or something like that, show you guys exactly how to make all 3 of their jerseys. That way you guys can make your own Halifax Raiders if you want to do a Draft to Glory with them as well, because obviously this is probably one of my favorite Draft to Glories, even though we haven't been successful. I just really like the look of our team, even though we've never won a Stanley Cup. Mauricio's been awesome up to his point of retirement, that type of thing. So yeah, I could definitely maybe do a tutorial video if you guys want that. Let me know if you want to see that. And the last and final comment is from Senator Taco, who says, yeah, this was not a great episode, but you need to play the hand you've been dealt. On paper, you don't look like a playoff team, but wasn't your Anchorage roster pretty similar? You won a cup with them in the last season, so you never know. And that's true. My Anchorage series, I can't remember exactly what my team looked like at that point in time, because that was a long time ago at this point in time. But yeah, it definitely wasn't the best. Like, I remember being really surprised that we were able to win a Stanley Cup, because our defensive core had dropped off astronomically, and we still won a Stanley Cup with that roster. So anything, I guess, can happen. Who knows? Maybe this is a team that could win a Stanley Cup compared to the teams of the past. So anyways, those were the comments I got in last episode. I think some people are also mentioning, if I'm not mistaken, stuff with the coaching staff to see if there was a better fit for our head coaching job. Like, this guy's a 64. He's always been our head coach. Let me just make him an assistant here for a second and see if the other guys are better fit. So Palat, 63, is not going to be that guy, unfortunately. Novak is at 64 as well. I don't know if I would go with him. He looks like he's a pretty solid fit for most players, but I don't know how he compares to the other coach. Yeah, he's a little bit lower rated, so I think we're gonna still leave it like this pretty much. Yeah, that's where our coaches are gonna be. Scouting wise, doesn't matter, because we're at that stage where none of those guys are probably gonna develop. But I think we're pretty much ready to go. I just want to make sure our lines are good to go. And then, like I said, we are going to have to make some adjustments once we get those guys signed up. But we're not going to assimilate a huge chunk at once, because I want to see if the asking price drops down. Once we get Kavanagh back, we're going to be sending Danino down to the AHL. And then, obviously, if we could get Ramo back soon as well, Cracknell will likely become a depth defenseman, and we will send down Evan Dodge. Because actually, if we send down Dodge right now, will that free us up cap space? I kind of think it will, in a sense, because he is on a one-way contract. If we send him down, it might knock us down a bit in cap space, unless he doesn't get claimed. I don't know. But we're going to send down Dodge right now, and I'm going to see if that saves us some cap space. So right now we have 7.145 in cap space, and if we send down Dodge, will he get claimed by any team? He does not. It does give us cap space. 8.245. We might have enough now because of that. That's actually great. We might actually have enough money to sign Ramo now as well. Because how much did we offer Kavanagh again? I wish I could tell how much I offered him. Can't tell here. But I think I might have enough money to sign Ramo now. I'm not going to give Ramo a contract just yet, but I'm going to see if we could re-sign him in a few days, because I think we might have the money now almost to sign him. Okay, let's just get through this first game of the season, because at least there's a little bit of a gap after it. We lose 4-1 in our first game of the season, which is not ideal. Kavanagh did accept, which is great. So we'll go back to our contract situation. And we do have the cap space available now to re-sign Nicholas Ramo. Okay, we made up at least for our problems there. 3.85 for a year. You're going to get that, Nico. And I am very happy about that. That's really great to see. So all we needed to do was send down Dodge. I mean, we could probably keep Dodge up here also, but I don't know. Let's just get Ramo to accept before this Jets game, which he probably should. No, he doesn't yet. Okay. We're going to have to make a roster move here, though, and call up Kavanagh from the AHL at least, just because we want our defensive core getting better as the season goes on. So Kavanagh will come up, and we'll get him into the lineup here. But at least our defensive core is back. The only thing that kind of was a little bit weird about last episode now is the fact that we signed Haken and then had to waive him because of the fact, yeah, we just could not fit him in. That's not a -3, is it? Yeah, see, I didn't think it was. Who do I want to play in that top 4? Probably Cracknell right now, because he's a right-handed defenseman. But like I said, he'll become a depth defenseman probably once we get Ramo signed up, because Ramo should accept that contract. Oh, what a weird start to the year, huh? And there is Ramo accepting as well. We do win our second game 3-2 over the Winnipeg Jets, who actually won their first game, so that's a great sign. Dodge is losing morale because of ice time. I'm going to have to put him into the AHL lineup, but that's okay. Let's call up Ramo. And we'll go to edit lines here. And put him in as well. We'll put him in, like I said, over Cracknell. Ramo will play on our right side because he's a left demon that shoots right, I think. Yeah, perfect. There you go. That looks much better than it did at the start of the year. I like that. And if we go to AHL, we will take out this Galiev guy because he's not even a guy I drafted, I think. So we'll throw Dodge into that spot and let Dodge get some more ice time that way as well. Perfect. Okay, so we're pretty much good and ready to actually start simulating now. We actually have our full team on paper. Now the question is this team a playoff team? Kavanagh actually picked up an assist in that game, so he's actually tied for the team lead in points already. So you can see why we needed to bring back those defenders. Actually, Kavanagh was listed as a top 4. I feel like we should get him maybe into that top 4 pairing unless he already was moved up there, which I don't think he was. I gotta double check on that front. Just want to make sure everybody's kind of happy with their ice time a little bit. Yeah, okay, he is in the top 4. Just because guys like Ricardo Richter, for instance, he was an 80-something at some point, and now he's only been a 79. And it's only because of lack of ice time, I think, that he's capped out as a 79. I think he would have been much better if we would gave him more ice time, but oh well. Okay, let's start actually simulating the season, calendar sim-wise. I'm glad we got the full team on paper now. And obviously, anything can happen. Who knows what's going to happen this season? Let's go to the end of this month and see where we're sitting at that point. Hopefully, we don't have any injuries other than the AHL. Ivan Markov in the AHL is injured. That's okay. But yeah, hopefully we don't run into any injury problems. There's back-to-back losses. Komatov in the AHL has been injured too. That's not great. We're on a little bit of a losing streak here, but we do beat Vancouver 8-3. So a little bit of a rough start, it looks like, to the year for the team. Who was it that was out? Oh, yeah, it was Galiev. Galiev out for... Where are you? Where is this dude? Oh, he must have already been put in on defense. No, where is Komatov? It wasn't Komatov that was back, right? Oh, it's Markov that's back. Okay, I got confused for a second here. I think it was Chubasov that was out. Maybe not. I don't know who was out on this defensive core. Oh my goodness, why is it going over there? Stop glitching out, game. We'll get Markov in here. Perfect, and we'll go up like that. Yeah, our defense isn't the best in the AHL. Everything's not good, really, in terms of our prospect pool, but... It is what it is. Once you get to a certain stage, it's hard to develop prospects, right? Komatov is also back for the AHL. We'll get him in shortly. But yeah, it looks like our NHL team's not off to the best of starts, so I might have to make some adjustments here. Because that's not great. Oh, we're on the AHL calendar, I think, briefly. Ooh, 3-7 in our first 10 games. That's terrible. That is actually terrible. Okay, Raymond's doing fantastic with 8 goals in 10 games, but he is a penny free agent, I think. So that might be why. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, he wants to get paid big bucks. Ooh, 9.2, man. We might lose some good players again this offseason, but I need to make some adjustments here because something is not working on this team. And we're on the pace to miss the playoffs so far. Ooh, that entire top line's -7+. Let's go Ahin in top line. I know it's sounding weird because he's only a 79. We'll go back to Booz on down the middle. Go something like that. I don't really know exactly, but we need to find a way. Actually, can we... Wait, no, Booz isn't the center. He's not the one I wanted to put down there. It was Coop that's actually the center. Trying to think of what we could do here to make this better. Go like that. Go Lehman as the third liner instead. Nah, that's not gonna work well. Yeah, I don't really know what the main problem is right now. Both goalies have been really struggling, which is kind of uncharacteristic of us. What could I do here? I don't think there's really much I can do. I might have to change the coach to the other defenseman coach, because this coach, I don't know if this coach is the problem. I don't think he is, because he's been great with us in the past. But, let me look at the scheme fit stuff. Looks pretty good. 66% now it's saying, so we should be starting to win games soon. Like, hopefully this is just a really bad start to the year, and hopefully we find ourselves in the next month and we're kind of closer to 500 again. And if we don't, we're kind of a little bit risky here that we might miss the playoffs, because that's a really bad start. That's one of our worst starts in a while. I mean, it's still not terrible anyway in stretch. We actually had 3 wins, but 3 wins in 10 games, not good. I need a good response in this next month. We need to start winning games, and we need to be, I'd say, a little bit over 500 by the end of the month, if possible here. Because or else this is not where we want to be in 2045-46. There's another loss. A win there, another loss. Come on, guys, give me some wins back-to-back. Let me see how this game against the Flyers is. Another loss, 5-11. Okay, we need to make some coaching adjustments here or something. I don't know what the problem is at the moment. We're probably just giving up too much goals. What do we want to do here? It's probably because we don't have the same coach supporting staff on our coaching staff. Let me take a look at it. Ooh, 66% on this A+ coach, but he's an offensive coach. I'm going to sign some of these other coaches instead, and I'm going to probably... Wait, what room do we have for coaching-wise? We have a room in the AHL. I'm going to assign one as an AHL assistant and call him up as an NHL coach if possible, but I don't know if I really want an offensive coach. A generalist might be the better option in a sense, but I don't know. He doesn't have how much good fit? 56%. Yeah, it's not good enough. Let's go with Holovic, and let's go with AHL assistant coach, and just keep on giving him the same amount for he is an AHL assistant coach. And then, like I said, we'll maybe call him up as an NHL coach here, because I might use him as the head coach or an associate coach instead of Melikar, which might sacrifice our defense a bit, but we need to make some adjustments here because we're losing a bit too much games here early on. So let's see if this guy accepts. He's not interested in a job title. Even if I paid you that much money, that's like the exact same you'd get paid as a head coach, but you're doing it as an AHL level instead. This is kind of annoying. I'm going to have to overpay on him a lot, I guess, but that's okay. I didn't expect really to get off to this bad of a start, but I kind of expected it too because our roster is not the best on paper, but it is what it is. Let's continue to simulate here a little bit. We have a couple more games before this coach maybe accepts. Another loss. Oh my goodness, boys. Please, Holovic accepts. I'm hearing your staff chemistry is low. I was going to say no, but the solution... I want to be a solution to the issue. That's actually pretty impressive. You want to be a solution. Hopefully you could be a solution. And we will probably send down the worst coach to the AHL right now as the goalie coach is for now, Novak. And we'll sign Holovic to be our assistant coach for a second. We'll move your to AHL assistant for a sec. You will move Holovic to head coach. And Melikar to assistant. Actually, yeah, I guess that would work. And then Novak is fine. Okay, what I want to take a look at is how good Holovic is fully with this team. Staff chemistry went up. Okay, let's take a look if our lines look better than they did before. Our defense might be sacrificed with Holovic as head coach, though. So chemistry on the offensive side of things doesn't look the best, which is not great. Yeah, that's not great, to be honest. Yeah, I don't really like that chemistry on the offense. Defense looks pretty good, though. I don't know if I would prefer better chemistry on the defense or the offense. How about power play? It's kind of even as well. Yeah, this coach isn't really the best of fit on the offensive side of things. I don't like that. We're going to maybe make him an assistant coach instead of a head coach. But I don't know if we want to promote the guy that was a B-roaded coach that's defensive, because he had the same scheme fit before. So if we go Holovic to assistant again here and make Palat the head coach, and Holovic is going to be an associate, or an assistant, I mean. Palat was how good of a fit again? 64%. He's more of a physical coach, which is interesting. Let's go back to our line, see what the chemistry is looking like. Like, it's a really weird start to this team. Okay, way better on the offensive side of things. Balanced defensively, which is fine. And obviously goalies don't have chemistry. What about special teams here? And not the best still. Not the best, really. Oh my goodness. Yeah, not the best at all. Oof. Yeah, it looks terrible. I don't like those special teams at all, really. Oh my god. Let's try and go with... Lehman on the second unit instead. We'll get Boucher on this first unit. That doesn't even look that good, too. Jeez, man. I'm at a loss for words with this team right now. I thought they would do a little bit better than they are doing this season, but they haven't been. We'll get Richter down the middle here. And we'll take Burish off the power play. And we will throw in Lehman at this point spot. I don't really know what the problem is, to be honest. We'll get Coop off this power play as well. And get Cardwell on that spot instead. And then we'll throw, instead of Cardwell on this one, we'll throw in Nico Ramo. And yeah, I don't know what else really. I don't know what the problem is, to be honest. It's probably the lack of center depth or something like that. But our coaching staff is not really the best here. I don't know if I want to even use Palat as the head coach. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use Palat as the head coach. I feel like I should just keep with the same coach almost, but there's not really much better options out there. Let's go with that for a second here. Let's go back to hire coach again just to see if there's anything else that maybe I could hire that would give us maybe a better outcome. Let's see, 65. There was another 66, but that might be just the same result. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a good coach really out there for us, which is not great. The only 66 was, who was it? Carl Cabina. He's an offensive coach as well, which is not really ideal. So we're going to have to just keep with this coaching staff, which really sucks. I mean, I could go back to Halovic because it said the staff chemistry was much higher when he was head coach. But he is a little bit worse in terms of stuff. I think I'll just make Halovic the head coach at this point. I got to just go for a new coaching change. We just got to find somebody to change it up a bit. And Malakar will be the assistant instead, which does change the chemistry a little bit coaching-wise. But we got to make some sort of an adjustment here. Charles Raymond is going off, which means he's going to want to get paid, and we might lose him this offseason unless we decide to let go of Burkov finally. But I don't know what's with this team right now, and I'm scared that our playoff streak might come to an end here. As we get a defensive injury, which is not ideal. Not ideal at all. We do win 6-4 over the Caps. 4-1 there, 6-5 there. Okay, maybe we're going to start to finally win some games here. Maybe we're finally going to find a winning streak that get us closer to 500 again. And maybe I just overthought things a little bit. I don't know. Or maybe it's just the fact that we changed coaches. That our team is all of a sudden winning games. And we lose 2 games in a row afterwards. But we're 9-14, so we're almost getting back to 500. Now the only problem is we're 7 points out of a wild card spot here at the moment. So we have a lot of room to make up in the next month plus. So we need to have a good month of December, or else this might be a non-playoff team. So let's go a little bit slower, actually. Let's go to the 15th. Take a couple weeks at a time. Maybe make some line adjustments if needed. But I want to take the season a little bit slow, considering we're close to the end. As Hamalainen goes down, that's not ideal. One of our better players getting injured on the offensive side of things. But since we've hired this new coach, we've done a lot better, which is good. But at the same time, is it too little too late? Who knows? Len Jennings got the play, which is nice. Always good to get younger guys into the lineup. Like, the chemistry is not super good on the offensive front, but we have been scoring more goals, I feel like, since we got this coach. We're back to 14-16. That's more respectable. It is still below 500, obviously, but that's way more respectable than what we started at. And the last wildcard spot is at 34 points. We're on 28. So we are starting to make up some room. There's still a lot of time left this season. But obviously we got to make sure we don't lose too many in a row, or else that could set us back even more so. Let's go to the end of the month and see what we're doing at this end. See if we can get above 500 here. Because that'd be great. Raymond's been injured. That's a terrible injury considering he's been one of our better players. We're still very inconsistent, it looks like, which is not ideal. But I really hope this team can find themselves and get above 500 in one of these months, because that would go a long way. Because if we somehow make the playoffs out of this, who knows what could happen once we get to the playoffs. If we get there. And we're on a losing streak again. There's a win. And we're going to be 16-20. Our regulation losses are starting to pile up a bit too much. 25 goals in 35 games for Raymond. Jeez. Well, I don't know why he's all of a sudden simulating like that. We're 8 points out of a wild card spot. We do have 2 games in hand, but we need to win games now. We cannot leave losing too much. So I'm going to go back to adjustments here and see what we could do. Layman is dropping off. It's probably because of our center depth, to be honest. Let's see, is there any lines that are really badly minus? The top line. Yeah, the top line has been dreadful, so I'm going to swap Hamalainen and Ozens. I love Ozens, but we're going to put him to the second line so he could set up Raymond for more goals, maybe. Defensively, any bad pairings? Not really. That's kind of surprising, to be honest. We have a lot of plus-minus guys. Both goalies have been really struggling, which is kind of dumb as well. I almost feel like we'd be better if we had no Burkov or something like that. If we had McKenzie in the NHL, I feel like we'd do better almost. But he'll get in next year. He's got a .924 save percentage at this point, so he definitely will be in the NHL next season, which means definitely I think the time of Burkov being one of our goalies is probably going to run out right near the end of the series, unfortunately. But let's see if we can get to 500 here in the next little while. Because if we fall even more below 500, we're not going to make the playoffs probably at that rate. So let's go to the 14th. We got 6 games. Come on, boys, please. 8-2 loss. Are you kidding me? 6-3 loss. 3-2 win. 3-1 loss. 3-2 loss. And 3-1 win. 18-23-1. We're losing too much in regulation. We've only had 1 extra frame loss this season. We're at the exact halfway point of the season, and we're only on pace for 74 points, I think. Yeah, 74 points, which is nowhere good enough. Last wildcard's on 45, we're on 37. We're still kind of in the hunt, but we're quite far out of it, which is not great. Obviously, it means we might be able to draft a good player this year, but at the same time, we're very late into the series where it's almost not going to matter, probably. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to do here to really shake things up a bit. Just don't really know what we could do to get this top line to be better. Let's go Raymond top line. He's been our better player than Del Rivera has. And we're actually going to do something drastic. We're going to go Del Rivera down the middle, Boucher down the middle, Ahinen down the middle, Richter down the middle, just to make us stronger down the middle, because I feel like that's an important thing in this game. We'll go with Jacobson as the second line right wing. We'll go with Booze on this line with Layman and Ahinen. And then we will do Coop with Richter and Colborne. Defensively, we are going to rework this a tiny little bit as well. We're going to go with Kavanagh and Cardwell, Booze and Ramo. And yeah, we'll probably keep this the same. How's Mangone been? Not great. Let's take Mangone out, give Cracknell some ice time. And yeah, we'll keep this the same, pretty much. So, we're stronger down the middle now because we're using Del Rivera as a center. We'll see if that ends up helping us out a lot, because I feel like maybe that's where we're losing games as well, as we're not winning enough face-offs. Obviously, this team would do a lot worse if we didn't sign our defenders, probably. But this team is right up against the cap, and we're struggling to win games. So, we need to have a good end to this month. Let's see what we do in these 3 games here. Vegas, the Rangers, and Boston. There's a 4-2 win. 4-3 shootout win as Layman has been injured with a sore knee. Yeah, I think this is going to be Layman's last year in the NHL at this point, because usually they get injured in their last season, it seems like. We'll go replace player on that. And we win another game in a shootout, 4-3 as well. So we do win 3 straight, or actually 4 straight now at this point. We're starting to claw back into it a little bit, but the only thing is the wild card's on 48. We're on 43. We do have a game in hand as well. And there's a lot of other teams separating us in the playoffs as well. So we're going to need to have a better second half than all these other teams, which is going to be definitely tough, but it is possible. Richter's now been injured with an abdominal strain. That's not great. Let's replace player on that. 7-4 win there, 3-1 win over the Flames as Layman has returned, which is great. So Sexsmith was playing, I guess, where the other guy was, so we'll take Jennings out for Mr. Layman. And I guess... Is Sexsmith good at face-offs? No, he's not. Well, I mean, I could put him to the right wing instead, but let me just take a look at Len Jennings. No, he's not good at face-offs either. Let's go to Colborne down the middle, because Colborne can win face-offs too. I know Coop can as well, actually. but Colburn's better at face-offs, so we'll leave it like that. And final game of the month is also another win. We're on a good win streak here, and we're actually above 500 now. We're now all of a sudden 24, 23, and 1, and we have won, let's see, for 7 games in a row. And we've also had points in 8 of our last games, or 9 of our last 10, I think, even. So we've been really good. And we're also just outside of a playoff spot now by only a point with a game in hand. That's exactly what we needed. Now the question is, can we maintain this and get into the playoffs on a secure note and not be one of these teams that's just fighting to get into the playoffs? The Devils are now at 52 points in 50 games, so they're 3 points up, but we have 2 games in hand. We got to definitely take advantage of that. Let's go to the 8th. Couple games at a time here. There's a 5-2 loss, not ideal. 7-1 win there, which is nice. Gotta love the 7-1 win. Let's take Sexsmith out of the lineup now and get our lines back to where they were. Richter will come back in. That's good. Let me stop the sim because I can't see what's happening. 5-2 loss and 2-1 win. And not ideal. I mean, we did win 2 of 4 at least. Wildcard is at 58 points in 53 games. We're at 53 and 52. We're still kind of falling off a little bit. This is definitely one of those seasons that we might have put ourselves in a hole a little bit too early. Raymond is over point per game still. And he's got 40 goals in 51 games. How does he have 40 goals on a team that's not even like above 500 by that much? That's ridiculous. I don't think I'm going to be able to resign him this offseason now though, because I think he's going to demand like 10 million bucks at least. Yep, he wants 10.85, but we could maybe give him a 1-year deal to keep him around, but he's really surprised me with his goal scoring ability, to be honest. I didn't expect that from a guy that's only got like top 6 potential, but 40 goal season already. He's going to likely hit 50 for sure, as there's a lot of time left. We haven't even hit the trade deadline yet. Let's go to the 17th. We got 6 more games. These are big. Obviously, we want to get above 500 again as much as possible and get ourselves into those playoffs. And we are going to win 3 of 5, which is not bad. 29, 27, and 1. We are still outside of the playoffs by 5 points. That's a big hill to climb still. We do have time to do that, but obviously we need the Devils and the Sens to fall off a lot. And the teams that are right below us as well need to not win games, if possible. Let's go another 4 games and see what we're doing at that stage. Columbus 3-2 win. Arizona 8-3 win. Tampa 4-0 loss, but 5-2 win over Carolina. We're definitely playing a lot better hockey here in the second half, but is it too little, too late? We're on 65 points. The Wildcard's at 67 now in our own division. And then you also have the Devils on 68. We have 1 more game played in both of them, though. We also have the Sabres contending with us for the playoffs and the New York Islanders. So it's a very hard hill to climb into this wildcard spot, but there is a chance we might be able to get back into the mix. Let's go up to the trade deadline. See if we can win more games. There's a win and a shootout loss, but it's still a point. And let me just go continue simulating on this thing, but are we going to find a way to get into the playoffs after a dreadful start to the season? And then once we get to the playoffs, if we do, how long are we going to be a playoff team for? Like, are we just making the playoffs just to make the playoffs, or are we going to be a good team in the playoffs? We're on 68 points. Wildcard's now at 70 and 62. And Ottawa's on 71. It's a very tight race here. There's definitely a chance for us to still make it, but we need to have a very good month of March. And then the teams that are in the playoff spots right now need to lose games if possible. Islanders have jumped the Devils. They're at 71 points in 64 games. We're on 68 and 63. We need to find a way to knock out the Sens. Let's see how much goals Raymond's up to now. 48 goals. Where the hell did this come from? Like, he's barely over a point per game, but he's got 48 goals. That's craziness. We only got 19 games left this season. This is going to be a tight race to get into the playoffs. There's other teams that we're kind of catching up to as well, like the Canadiens. And then also like the Rangers are in a playoff spot as well, but not wild card. It's a tight race. There's a chance we could knock out a team, but there's also a chance that we might just fall off a cliff and not make the playoffs too. Because the Red Wings are on 60 points. They're only 8 points back of us. So, I think we got to continue simulating here, which is a bit scary. We got to continue simulating. Let's take it slow. Let's do these 2 games here. Winnipeg and Detroit. 4-1 win, 3-1 win. All of a sudden, our goaltending has propelled us into a wild card spot. So I think it's our goaltending that's definitely helped us out here recently. Maybe. Or our defensive play. But all of a sudden, having Cracknell in the lineup has helped out a lot too. So we're at 72 points in 65 games. Yeah, we're in a playoff spot just barely. The Devils and the Islanders have played the same amount of games but are 1 point less. This game against the Devils is pretty massive. That is pretty damn massive. If we could win that game, that will help us a lot potentially down the stretch. But here we go, 3 more games. This game against the Devils is crucial. We lose in a shootout, but we do win our next 2 games afterwards. It's good we bounce back with 2 wins. We're up to 77 points in 68 games. Devils are on 73 points in 68 games. We're making up some ground here. Hey, we're only 2 points back at the Canadiens for getting into a normal playoff spot. I like the way this team's simulating all of a sudden, but I am still scared that we might randomly miss by only a point or something like that. Let's see how we do in these 3 games. Vancouver, 7-1 win. Toronto, 5-2 loss. And Ottawa, who's big to win against, we win 6-3. We are still in a wildcard spot on 81 points through 71 games. But the Islanders are at 78. The Devils have fallen off to 75 points. So the Devils are now 6 points back of us. And the Islanders are the one team that's kind of scary at the moment. But also the Devils can still make the playoffs. The Maple Leafs can technically too. But we got to not go on a major losing streak to end the season. But we're almost on 40 wins. I am really surprised our team has actually had this good of a second half. Maybe that means we'll have a good playoffs or we'll get swept in the first round. Who knows? But 3 games again. Chicago, 2-0 win. Seattle, 3-1 win. Let's go, boys. And Anaheim, 4-1 win. We are now in the first wildcard spot with 87 points. What a hill to climb from this team. And there is a chance that we might make it back to the playoffs at this rate. The Islanders are still outside of the playoffs with 82 points, though. So anything can happen. The Devils are on 79 points. We are close, though, probably to clinching. We got 3 games this week. Florida, New York, and Boston. Can we win at least 2 of the 3? Florida, 4-2 loss. New York, 5-1 win, and a 3-0 win over Boston. Our goaltending has improved drastically in the last little while. 2-0 win there, 3-1 win there, 4-1 win there, 5-1 win there, and a 3-0 win there. We are playing good defensive hockey, and I think we might have a playoff spot here soon. We're not even in the wild card anymore. And the last team that's not in the playoffs are at 87 points, so it's still very tight. But if we could win more than half of these games, we should be able to clinch the playoffs. So here we go. 2 games. Philadelphia and Calgary, both on the road. Can we win at least one of these 2 games? We lose there and we win there. That's a huge win over the Flames. Is that enough to clinch us a playoff spot? It is. Let's go. What a second half of the season for this team. We reworked our coaching staff a little bit after a bad start. We edited our lines a little bit too, making us stronger down the middle. Might have been the thing that we needed to do. And we're back into the playoffs just barely. Let's get these last 3 games done. 3-0 win there. Shootout loss there. And an 8-4 loss to end the season. But we are in a regular playoff spot, not even a wild card spot, which is kind of surprising as we finished with 96 points. The Islanders missed the playoffs on 91 points, and the Devils fell off to 88. Huge for our team to make it back to the playoffs again. Charles Raymond finished with a 56-goal season despite missing a game. I'm surprised he was over point per game and all that, but hopefully he comes back for next season. But let's take a look at our team stats and player stats and then see who we're going up against in the first round of playoffs. I don't know if our team's going to have a good run or not. It's a really big surprise we made it to the playoffs to begin with how we started. But in terms of the entire league, where do we finish? We finished as the 9th best team. So we were a top 10 team in the league despite having that rough start, which is kind of weird. And in terms of goals for per game wise, we were how good offensively? Not super good. We were mid-table. Yeah, we were tied with a bunch of other teams. And all of them also made the playoffs, which is kind of funny. Goals against per game wise, we were the 2nd best defensive team in the league. See, that's what I was talking about. Those goaltenders very much helped us. 3 goals per game against, though, was the 2nd best, which is kind of surprising. Florida was the number 1 defensive team, and that kind of scares me that they're going to be very good in the playoffs again this year. Our power play was not very good. We just need to take that with a grain of salt. Our penalty kill, where was it? Where was our penalty kill? One of the worst as well. Our penalty kill and our special teams weren't good, but we are good defensively. 8 shorthanded goals, 22, 18-1 on home ice, 24, 14-3 on the road, 6-3-1 in our last 10 games. Now the question is player stats. Other than Raymond, who did what? Okay, I see some decent point production here. So Bernard Boucher only on 56 points, minus 13. He really struggled this year, which is kind of surprising. He's dropped off a lot since his 80-point days when Mauricio was here, but it's okay. It's still 56 points for a guy that was a 7th-round pick. I will take it. Ahinen on 51 points, which is not bad for a guy that's likely to retire the season. Ricardo Richter on 42 points is pretty solid. Coop on 33. I like that center depth a little bit. Hamalainen on 72 points is great. Love to see it. He has not dropped off yet. That's one of his best seasons, I think, of his career, so I like it. Lehman on 60 points. Pretty damn impressive. He has lost his gold ability. He's down to just silvers now. This is potentially the last year for Alan Lehman. And it was another solid season. Ozzen's on 60 points as well. It's pretty good, but the minus 12 not so much. Boo's on 43 points. Even though we weren't technically a really super good offensive team, I really like our depth scoring. Because we got guys scoring on multiple lines. Like, look at this. Raymond on 83 points is fantastic. Del Rivera on 71 points. And Jacobson on 62 is pretty damn impressive for him. Even with power play time, too. 27 points. Sexsmith on 3 and 5. And Jennings on 2 and 5. I think our depth scoring was pretty good, considering the fact we weren't super deep offensively. Defensively, Cardwell on 61 points. That's very nice. That's maybe what helped us out offensively quite a bit. Marty Cardwell has been that guy on the blue line. I like it. Will he win a Norris this season? I don't know, but that's a very big improvement from last year in point production. So shout out to Cardwell. Kavanagh on 19 points plus 27. That's why I had to bring him back. Bursch on 18 points. Booz on 15. Ramo on 14. Cracked on 11. And Mangone on 3 and 42. Pretty damn good. Goaltending wise, we got good numbers obviously from our goaltenders. Both of them played around the same amount of games. Who is going to start the playoffs? It looks like it could be Zadorov, but Burkhoff technically has the experience factor again, because both of them had pretty similar records. Zadorov is a little bit better. Both of them had 2 shutouts. Both of them had similar save percentages and goals against. So I don't know who starts the playoffs. That will be up to you guys. Burkhoff had more assists by only 1 now. So there is our goaltenders. If we head now to stats around the league, let's take a look at who led in points. Let's see. Ola Lilia again with 116. Landon McGrath with 115. Cesar Gamache with 109. Jeez. What about best goal scorer this season? It's Tuzolino in Montreal with 63. But look at that. Charles Raymond finishes tied for 2nd in goal scoring, which is kind of nuts with how little our team scored this season. So that's pretty impressive. Selkie candidates for this season. You're looking probably at Emmanuel Gauthier with that 55%, or maybe actually Bo Campoli, who was 57% on the draw. Damn. Best defenseman this season. Chris Whitmore, again, 93 points in Florida and a plus 40. This guy's insane. He's probably one of the best players on and are not on our team that we've had in the past. Holy crap, 711 points. Yeah, this guy's a stud. Very good defenseman. But there is that. So definitely unfortunately no Norris Trophy for Marty Cardwell. But he was pretty close, I'd say. He's probably top 5 in candidates. Best goaltender this season for wins. Tulipov of 46 for Tampa. Most shutouts. Sims again with 7. Oh yeah, Dennis Sims. I don't know if we should have held on to him over some other goalies, but he was a waiver claim by LA. He signed in Florida, won the Stanley Cup, I think it was, wasn't it? Let me take a look at that. Yeah, I think he won the Stanley Cup, right? No, he didn't win the Stanley Cup. He played actually pretty good in the playoffs, but he did win a Vezina. That's what it was last year. And there's a chance he might have won a 2nd straight Vezina. Let's see. Steckel with a 920 through 42 games is pretty damn good. It's probably not going to be a 2nd straight because they'll probably give it to Pagaduin or something instead. But yeah, Dennis Sims is a pretty damn good goaltender. Most assists by a goalie for fun. 5 assists from Kudobin. No goalie goals. Yeah, no goalie goals. Mark Solis Forgot about him. Best rookie this season, Tim Gordon of the Buffalo Sabres with 61. Rohan Drury with 59. Schmalz with 54 for Edmonton. That type of thing. Okay. Did our AHL team make the playoffs? That's another thing I have to ask before we actually take a look at who we're going up against. And they did. Nice. Okay, so the AHL team back in the playoffs again. Love to see that. Who is our NHL team going to be playing in the playoffs now, though? We're going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning again. Oh, my goodness. Last year, they reverse swept us. Are we able to get redemption on them and be that cheese team to knock them out? They finished 50, 28, and 4. We finished 46, 32, and 4. Let's do a comparison, but of course we have to go up against them again. But yeah, last year they reverse swept us, so this is our time to get some payback. They finished 8 points above us. They were much better offensively. We were better defensively. They were better on the power play, and they were better on the penalty kill. Okay. Yeah, they're just probably better in most things at this stage. Obviously, we know that they have a good top line. I think Goodbranson retired last year, though, from their top line. So they might not be as strong as they were last year, which is kind of nice in that sense. But let's see what they're looking like. Okay, so FBZ got moved from the right wing to the left wing with the retirement to Goodbranson. So it's Piers Zabottle, Frazier, and Ty Glenn, who must have been just recently brought in via free agency. Yep. 75 points this year, though, for that guy. So pretty good. Second line, Simon Brodeur, Malachi Hughes, and Warren Moss. Third line, Damian Andrews, Marcus Kavasha, and Jalen Girard. And a fourth line of Braden Henderson, Darius Holmberg, and David Sparks. Couple new faces. I think even Malachi Hughes is new too. Let me take a look and see if he is. Yeah, he is new. 70 points this year. So I guess with the cap space, Goodbranson left, they were able to bring in a couple other players, which is pretty good. Defensively, they have Shanson, Yelkinen, Gite, and Orpik still, and then they have Sawatsky, who's new, and Radek Majewski. Goaltending-wise, still Tulipov, as we saw before, and Kyle Legacy is their backup now, which I think is a new backup. Yeah, that's what I thought. Scratch-wise, they have Francis Froats, who I think has been there for a long time at this point in time, if I remember right. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So they're a pretty solid team. Obviously, they had a really good season, but now is the time for us to get redemption on them from last year, because last year we should have won that series, but we didn't. Hopefully next episode we find a way to get revenge on them and find also a way to get ourselves to a Stanley Cup Finals in these next few episodes. So let me guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.